You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome. You are watching USA Global TV, and this is Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents Pet Psychic Aminah. I am your host, executive producer, director, and broadcast engineer. And with me is the star of our show, Pet Psychic Aminah. Let's bring her out. Hello, friends.
Hello. Let's see. I got to go.
How are you today?
I'm good. A beautiful California day. We're only in the 80s, so.
All right.
Do you know what the weather's like outside? Should I ask?
No, you know, I have a new enhancement, which is, I think I told you, this one wall is all huge windows, and it's a loft, so there's no way I could reach over to close them. So I've been broadcasting all this time, sweating. Anyway, I figured out a way to close them. So now they're closed, and I'm in pretty much complete darkness. So I don't know what it's like outside. I think it's
no cancer for you.
It's right. It's staying in the darkness like a vampire.
Well, I don't even want to touch that one. So I love that. So you start flying around, I'll love it. So.
So you brought us a great guest today.
I'm trying. There's a lot out there, and thanks for the correct link, so everybody gets on the right channel. You have so many channels, and I'm never sure which to use. So thanks for the teamwork, to get this there. So we've just got so much coming up. Krista and I, who knows how we all find each other, but we do. And she talks dogs, and she's the expert at dogs. And we are going to spend the hour talking with dogs. And she's just wonderful. My heart love is with people who do things to move pet owners forward. It's hard to be I don't care if you're a pet owner, a plant owner, a child owner, when you have to care for another living thing, it's a lot of work. There's skill involved. You don't just water a plant and walk away. Some people drown them. Some people water them every 6 weeks or 10 years and wonder why they died. And everything needs care. The world needs care. Right now, we want to send out love. And these guests are just that. Like you and I last week with Dottie, it was so much fun. Just so much fun. And we learned so much. So I hope everybody gets the same out. But we're going to talk dogs.
Woo! Before we bring her out, let's hear a little bit about you, Pet Psychic Aminah. I'm going to spotlight you. You're much more than a pet psychic. Tell us more.
I am trained and have worked in the veterinary services and as a vet assistant. So I not only have spent working with animals my whole life. When I was little, I thought everybody heard animals talking, so I always spoke in the first person. I'm the youngest of 5, and I got a lot of funny looks. And even as a small child, you go, I don't think they hear what I hear. So I didn't talk about it anymore, except for with my own children. They were raised knowing what I knew and what I could see and that kind of stuff. And a husband that always said, no, that doesn't make any sense. I'm going to do it my way. And I'm thinking, okay, go ahead. And he's like, don't do that. After 27 years of marriage, you go, no, she's always right. Just don't do that. It's too dangerous. Worked in a wildlife sanctuary. I've actually worked 2 times. Once when I was 14. I was given the wolf to walk because he hated men. And if you can imagine, I got my height pretty early on, so I was tall enough, but I'm walking a wolf, which was as high as my waist, and he could have just ripped my arm off, but we had a wonderful time. Also, we had a really aggressive lion. He loved peeing and roaring at everyone because he had been abused. But we got to a place where, it's kindness, it's gentleness, it's bringing your energy down and showing love. And I know Chris is going to talk about the same or has experienced that. And I know you have probably with your dogs. We just need to come at a problem different. So I'm not only a public speaker, and a college-winning award public speaker, and did a national competition, came in second. So I was really thrilled about that. And working with wildlife and working with people, understanding that wolves are important, that spiders are important, and not to kill, but to understand them. If you understand someone, anybody, human or otherwise, you can empathize with them. You might be even sympathize with them. But if you don't understand a culture, if you don't understand, and I have traveled a lot. I have spent a lot of time in the Middle East. I have spent a lot of time every single state in the United States. I've seen 5 times because my dad was a teacher. We traveled a lot, and I've traveled in Europe. It broadens your view, and it broadens my education on where I'm going to talk. So that's why I have a client in Croatia. I have clients in France. I have clients in Spain. All I need is a phone call. And we're going to work on that, because I know your ask at the last Friday was to invite guests on to get readings live. And I'm an empath, so I feel what people are saying. And I don't want to feel on the spot, so I'm going to put it out there. And if the right client calls, I'll give you a reading for free. So join us.
All right.
That's my background.
I like it. Thank you. It's always good to get to know someone on many different levels. So you're very accomplished, and I'm glad that you could share that with our audience.
Well, and you want to have something more than just natural ability. That's really, really terrific. But I mean, if you've seen the women, let's see, Venus and somebody else play tennis, I mean, these girls are seriously talented. You watch any of the Olympics, they're seriously talented, but they worked hard. They learned the gift. They put in the work. They did the diet and the exercise and really took care of themselves. It's just not God-given talent. So mine is talent that I was born with, but then I went to school for it because I didn't know that's what was going on. I didn't know I was psychic until somebody told me. Says, you realize this is what you do? And I'm like, really? Is that why I finish people's sentences? And say, no, don't do that. And they're like, no, that doesn't make sense. I'm going to do that. And I'm thinking, no, don't do that. Why? I don't know. Just don't. And then they crash and burn, usually family members. And they're like, man, just don't. Just do what she says.
Yeah, just listen up. She knows what she's talking about. Brilliant. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to bring out Krista. And I've played this before. I think you've seen it before. I just like it on a Friday. I like it all the time. But she is a performer from the UK. Her name is ILO, I-L-O. And her record label is Licorice Dragon Records, and her song is Heroes in Disguise. And if you go over to iTunes, you can download her song and get to know her music. Here she is, ILO, and we'll be right back.
Picture this, a life where you can leave your pain, a life where you can start again somehow. Picture this, a vision that can change a prayer, happy heart that's always there in the now. So don't be afraid of fear. You know, as long as we're still here, we can be anything larger than life. Rise up from the ground. We can fall down over 10,000 times, then turn it all right back around. We never imagined how good life can be, but inside you and me, we can see past these ghosts in the mirror. We're heroes in disguise. Heroes in disguise. Picture this, losing everything you got, never having had a lot, but heroes in disguise. Heroes in disguise. Heroes in disguise.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back to USA Global TV, and we are also running on Business Talk Radio, as always. I'm going to welcome back. Good to see you.
Thank you. It's been so long.
I know. How'd you feel about that song?
Well, I tried not to dance through this one since you told everybody I danced through it last time. I love music. It just soothes the soul. It's as organic as puppies and kitties and plants. So
yes, absolutely. So thank you. She does.
Yeah.
Thank you, ILO. Thank you, Tony Moore. And thank you, Licorice Dragon Records. All right, let's bring out Krista. Krista from Wag Out Loud. Welcome to the show.
Hello, ladies. What an honor.
Well, we got to
So
hang
nice
out
to-
with the blonde group, I guess.
Hey.
I never noticed that.
We have more fun.
Oh,
Here we are.
I guess so. I remember growing up. You got, Krista, you might be too young. Jacalyn and I are not too young, but the dumb blonde thing was going around. And I was like, do I look dumb? Do I act dumb? This is not working, people. I'll get away from the dumb blonde part because this one bites.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this
That
is
is
a
so true.
powerful room is what I want the audience to get. This is a powerful, wonderful, loving room.
Let's do it. Well, I have a little redhead here that I'd like to introduce everybody to. This is Winston.
Hi, Winston.
Since we're geeking out about dogs, I just had to share.
Absolutely.
So tell
my
us
little
a
man.
little bit about Winston.
Winston is a 12-year-old Norwich Terrier, and he weighs about 15 pounds, and he is the most spoiled dog in the world. I know. He eats better than me. He travels. He's involved in all of our activities: snowshoeing, hiking, camping, cycling. So yeah, he's got a good life.
I want to see the snowshoes. Come on, you got to.
I was just thinking that.
Exactly. Jacalyn and I are the same. I want to see these snowshoes. They're
Well,
like.
We have to pack it down first.
Snowshoes.
We want to see you on Shark Tank with the snowshoes.
I played tennis all my life. It's like little tennis rackets. I want 4
Is
of
that
them.
my next calling?
There you go.
Yes.
Your next marketing ploy.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
So how did you get started with Wag Out Loud?
Well, it actually started with the dog before Winston, and that was Higgins. He was also a Norwich Terrier. So we're probably talking about 14 years ago. And Higgins was getting constant seizures. So 3 different veterinarians could not figure out why. And at the same time, we were looking at getting a second dog, and she was an adult. And the owners wouldn't sell her to us unless we promised to feed raw. So, okay, we'll feed raw. So we fed her raw, and Higgins got raw as well, because that's convenient. And guess what? He never got another seizure. So ever since then, I was very intrigued with canine nutrition and did tons of research. And forward back to 2018, I was walking Winston, and it just hit me that I had to become certified in canine nutrition. I just wanted to learn all of the science behind it. So I did that, and it took about a year because I had a job at the time. And once I got the certification, don't ask me, ladies, I don't know why, but I just thought, oh, let's just start a podcast about canine health and wellness. So here I am 2 years later, and 118 episodes have been released, and I have expert guests every week that teach myself and others all about canine health and wellness and how we can be the best advocates for their health.
Wow, such an interesting journey. I'd love to hear more about the certification because I didn't know you get certified in that. That's fascinating.
Oh, ladies, I don't know how you did in school in science and biology. Oh, wow, there's a lot to know. It's very, very in-depth, but fascinating. I just love it. And it's changing still all the time. So that's why I let my guests on the show do the talking. Because, even with human science, things change every single day and we're finding out new things. So it's the same with dogs.
Right. And what drives science is what you did. When there's a problem and you can't find the answer, we tend to go and say, okay, I need more help. I need bigger help, that kind of stuff. We have another guest that I brought on, Alex, that Jacalyn will know. And she did the same thing. She went across the world and went to India and studied and did all that kind of stuff. But you did it for your pet. You did it. And I run into a million pet owners literally that are up against the wall, like you said, and getting no help. And right now we're dealing with so many chemicals in the world that it's in our food because it's in our fields and it's on the plant and it's all over. If we kill the honeybee, I keep preaching this. If you kill the honeybee, we will not be eating. It will be the fastest diet in the entire planet. Everybody will be thinner, but you don't realize that it's all about these chemicals, and it's literally stealing our lives and the quality of our lives, like you saw with your dog. And I really honor you for doing the work and now sharing that.
Well, thank you, Aminah. You're so right, and I am learning so much about myself in being in canine health and wellness that it's so sad, the toxic lives that we live. It's from our food. It's from the chemicals in our homes. I mean, our homes are 2 to 4 times more polluted than the outdoor air. And it's the laundry detergent, it's the cleaners we use, it's those, sorry people, but those Glade plugins.
It's literally poison you're putting in the air. And I'm so glad you said that, because Lysol has a place, not if you have an animal. If you have any animals in your world, and I don't care, I'm not talking about you right now. You and I we're going to stick on animals. So yes, it's bad for you. Just what you said, the Glade plugins or the scented candles. I used to love those years ago, when they were very vogue. And I kept thinking, what are my kids smelling? My little ones. What am I smelling? What, the perfume, the deodorant. I have women that are allergic to perfume. Men are allergic to perfume. Pets are allergic to perfume. It is a chemical. And guess what? What I talk about, one client specifically, her autistic young son and the dog, and everybody was like having emotional upsets constantly that didn't make any sense. And I said, okay, this sounds like chemical. You need to take plain ivory soap and water, just water, and wash everything. But you've got to get rid of all the chemicals. You got to get the smell out of the Tide. You got to get the smell out of the soap and this and that. No colors, no dyes. She did that, and I said it's going to take 3 months, at least the shortest time, to get all that out and see how everybody reacts. Her son did better. The dog started chewing on his feet. Literally, he was chewing holes in his feet because animals walk on all of that and then consume it. So this is not just in the food. It's in our environment, and we gotta start there if we want good lives.
You're right, And we can thank Monsanto's for that. Back in the 70s is when they started spraying our crops with Roundup.
Yeah, very
And
true.
if people don't know yet what glyphosate is, that is the main chemical in Roundup.
Is it in anything else? Because I didn't know that word. I knew the chemical, but I didn't know.
Glyphosate. That is what is in Roundup that is being sprayed on our crops.
Yep.
So our food has glyphosate in it. But to take it a step further, the reasons our dogs have 32 times as much glyphosate in their bodies as ours is because, as you said, Aminah, they're walking on it. You know, that we spray our lawns, we spray our golf courses, our parks.
Right.
And if you look at how our crops were sprayed in the 70s and the increase of that, just look at the major diseases that we and our animals are going through, and the graph is exactly the same.
Yeah.
So Europe has banned this chemical from being sprayed. Why are we still doing it? I don't know. Because
it's money. We all know the answer. It's money. And you're being very, very lovely and kind by not saying it, but I'm going to, and it's all about money. Animals are consuming it on their fur because of the way they live and they bathe and all that type of stuff. And we love them. And a lot of people are opting out of having children in order to just have pets. And that's fine. We got plenty of people on the planet, but it's money. They pay a lot of money. They pay a lot I put in a huge monarch butterfly field in over 5 acres to restore. And people don't realize, it's just a butterfly. No, wait a minute. It is the most prolific butterfly in the U.S. alone. I don't know about any other country. And it goes from here to there. I've written articles about it and said we're losing when we lose anybody. We need that whole balance. And carnivores like dogs are so important because they do clean up. They do, bring things. So, I don't know I don't want to bring up a sore subject. I know for me it is, but the wolf issue, they're still shooting them outright. And these are our dogs. This is where our dogs come from. And people say, well, what about a poodle? Well, people got involved with that. Have you seen a Chihuahua? He's not living in the forest.
No, but all dogs share 99% of the same DNA as the gray wolf descendant that they are from.
I didn't know that. Wow, that's fascinating.
And that's why it's so easy, because I talk about how they're packs. And you know this, they're packs, their families are important, the dynamic. You got the alpha, the beta, and everybody's got a place in the pack. You just need to know that. And then when we talk to cat owners, it's a whole different conversation.
Yes.
But they do lick everything. They're worse than children. Because that's how they clean.
Yeah.
So we're killing them. We're literally causing cancer in animals that don't need to happen.
Oh, you're speaking my language.
I know. Our hearts are breaking. Yeah, it is.
Aminah, it's half of all dogs now are getting cancer and dying from cancer. And it's all this stuff plus more that we're talking about. Yeah. We can change that.
So it sounds like nutrition is one part of it, but it goes far beyond that. It starts with the environment where the dog is living and how you're cleaning it, how you're caring for it, what you're cleaning your dog with, what you're washing your dog with. Right. Even a question I have, when I had my dogs, they passed away, but I would feed them people food. And people say, you can't do that. So when it comes to nutrition, is it okay to you mentioned raw, to give a dog a diet that's completely raw or completely people food or completely dog food or none of the above, all the above, some combination?
I'm going to let Krista answer.
Dr. Jacalyn. How many hours do we have?
The big questions.
The reason I prefer raw is it is a live food. You have live enzymes. If you are feeding a dry processed kibble, and Aminah already said it, dogs are carnivores, I might as well be eating Capt'n Crunch cereal every day for the rest of my life. Now, is that going to be nutritionally sound? Am I going to be happy with that? Am I going to be bored of eating that every day for the rest of my life? I think, for so many reasons, that feeding kibble to a dog is feeding them a bowl of inflammation. Dogs are carnivores. They are meant to eat meat. They do not need carbohydrates. That is not a nutritional requirement. So they could live on muscle meat, bone, and organs. Why have we created I don't even want to call it a food. Dry food is not food, it's feed. And that's why I am here to help. And I'm not shaming the people that feed kibble. I used to feed kibble. I didn't know any better. But there are so many better ways to feed, whether it's a fresh food diet that is commercial. You know, you have these companies that deliver right to your door. You can do a home cooked diet. But I warn you that you must make sure that the recipe that you're going off of is complete and balanced, because I don't know why so many people think just feeding chicken and rice is enough, because it's not. So that is all I'm going to say right now about nutrition, but it is so, so important. And I know that anybody that switches to a fresh food or raw food diet from a kibble-fed diet will see so many improvements in their dogs, not only physically, you know, the shinier coat, the fresher breath, more energy, the behavioral issues are all changed when they eat a proper diet. So it is crucial.
Yeah,
You know, it's so interesting because since you mentioned the dog is derived from the wolf, right? That I can't imagine any wolves walking around going, "Do you have the kibble? Does anyone have any kibble? Is there a Capt'n Crunch?" No. And a family member of mine has a beautiful dog, and they only feed the dog vegetables, fruits. It's and the dog looks amazing. So I don't know if that's a good diet or not, but the dog has beautiful breath and the coat is magnificent and she's full of energy. So I have to admit, when I had my dogs, I didn't feed them the best. I fed them that wet dog food on top of whatever. I don't even know. So I'm sorry, guys.
You can't do anything about anything you don't know.
That's
There's
right.
No
We just have to be
have no
educated.
education, but that's why we all do these podcasts. That's why we do the education. That's why we talk to our clients, because there's no blame. I don't say it. I know Krista doesn't say it. No, we don't go, well, how are you going to learn from that? And Krista, the only question I have for you, because I'm an animal science major in college. So in the science form, from what I understand, I'd love your input, is the carnivores are technically omnivores because they eat plants and vegetables and that type of stuff, and they eat meat. But their 60 or more % of their diet is, I would say higher, 75% of their diet is strictly meat. So what I also tell my clients is, okay, you've got a cat and you do this, and a dog, you can do this. But I really push, especially when we're trying to clear a gut and clear out all these allergies, is go get whatever meat you want. I don't care where you buy it. Costco sells it in big things and chop it up, but boil it and change their water to the broth. And I said, now, don't salt it, don't put garlic in it. Because I actually had a client who did that, but it'll taste bad. Are you eating it or are they eating it? And they're like, oh, I didn't think of that. Yeah, don't salt it. But when I have an animal who has that, you've seen it, those huge rashes, horrible paws because they're chewing them to death because of the itching and the allergies. One client, a Bichon Frise, way overbred, but she's using it as a therapy dog, blah, blah, blah. So went and got a purebred. This dog's had a myriad of medical issues just because of the breeding. But that juice, don't forget, boil it. Don't fry it or whatever, but when you're feeding the meat, you can do it raw, but you can also cook it and use that juice. It is so good for all of us. That's that chicken soup theory. That it has minerals and energy because you're getting organic, I hope. And Absolutely. So that you're not getting the chemicals and all of that, because if you're going to go down to Joe Schmo's, grill shop, you're going to get whatever chemical. And if he smoked that day and it's on, I don't know. We all hope people wash their hands. We've all seen people who don't.
Yes.
That is so true. You bring up a point. I already showed you my dogs. I'm going to reach over and get this picture, but they all died of cancer.
Oh.
So I wish I had known what I'm learning now, but here they are, my little sweeties.
Look at those. Those are hug puppies.
Yes. And they all had cancer. Now I can say that it was probably related to what I was feeding them.
But what I want you to walk away with, and I think Krista would agree, please don't feel guilty.
No,
you cannot feel guilty about what you didn't know. So I'm sure, Krista, you talk about it too, because a guilty parent just tends to cave in on themselves. I can't ever do another pet. Oh my God, no. Let go of all the guilt when you don't know. Now that you know, now you take responsibility for what you do going forward.
Right. Very good point. Thank you.
And Aminah, don't you think, I know you agree with me on this, that our pets are our teachers. They're here to teach us.
Oh my God, yes.
Dr. Jacalyn, if you look at your dogs and say, they all died from cancer. So let's say you want to get another dog tomorrow. I would imagine you would want to say, okay, what can I do differently so that my next dog doesn't get cancer? What can I learn from my previous dogs who were my teachers?
Yes,
and
really good point.
Need to look
really
at
good
it.
Point. Something that I notice now on a regular basis is when people are walking their dogs and they have the collar around the neck. Oh, it gives me chills. It gives me chills.
Imagine what your throat would feel like.
I know.
And they drag them or they pull them or, oh my gosh, yeah. We're harness fans. I think you're doing a harness or some version of it. What are you using instead of a collar?
Yeah, well, I can be transparent with you ladies that Winston is 12 and I didn't know better, about 6 years ago. And he was in a very fashionable German collar, leather collar. Well, he now has collapsed trachea. So I know better now. Thank you, Teacher Winston. He wears a harness, and it is like a martingale type of harness where I can hook in the front of his chest. So he doesn't, feel that against his trachea. But you guys are right. And especially with the larger breeds and you see the prong collars.
Yep. Pinch collars. Yep.
Oh, that just, it's not necessary if they're trained. And it's not the dog. If the owner is trained correctly, then those torture devices aren't really needed.
You're right. And we adopted a shepherd that was 2 years old, was abandoned in a backyard. And we all know septic tanks. They did exist a lot at one point. They actually removed the septic tank. The people at the house moved away. We were buying the house, so we went to inspect it. And I was told there's a big German shepherd. My children were, okay, you can't see the table, but they were 4 and 5. So they were the eyesight of the shepherd. And he was running around out there in the back with that septic tank hole 20 feet down, 6 feet across. All his balls were inside. So he kept running to the hole. And I said, why are you going to the hole? And all his balls were in there. But this dog was there all by himself. We adopted him and had him, but he didn't know how to be around anybody because he'd never been taught. So I went and talked to a trainer. What a godsend. Just some really, like Krista said, some really humane ways to do it. And just, he showed me I'm not kneeing him in the chest, but I'm putting my knee up so he can't jump on me. And the dogs then start jumping around me. And then that didn't get him anywhere. So he just stopped jumping. But there's really, really great ways to just say, no. And then I asked, and Chris, I'd love your input on this. I've never thought about, I get to ask somebody with dogs. I'm so excited. Sorry. I'm like 600 minds in this head. Sorry. So when we got him, where the hip and the muscle to the ribs come, it's really sensitive there, especially with the big dogs. You grab them there, man, you're going to get bit, possibly, if you're dealing with the wrong dog. It's a really sensitive area on the dogs. So the trainer was showing me, now if he's the right dog and he's got a great temperament, it seems, but he's 2. So he grabbed him and I was like, woo. So for the rest of our life together, 10 years, I would go around and demonstrate that, because he was a therapy dog. He ended up working in the hospitals and stuff like that. He was just so good with everybody. And I would go and grab him. He always looked at me like, why do you keep doing that? It's really annoying. But that's what he did from the first time we did it. But wanting to teach that, it's really great that he allowed me, because I didn't grab him hard, but he always said, that's really not fun. Stop doing that. These are the things people don't know, and people don't tell them to test these animals before you get them, because a giant dog, and he was a purebred. He had a tattoo in his ear. When I found the breeder, she was furious that he'd already changed homes 3 times and been abandoned in a yard, is where we got him. Basically, we bought the house, we got the dog. But he was wonderful for my kids to learn around, especially the 3-4-year-old. She just kept screaming. He kept jumping. He thought this was, it was a bunch of little kids. Right. And I said, honey, stop screaming. She finally stopped screaming. He sat down.
Everybody calm.
Calm down.
Like all these, because here I am with all these little kids. I got a little dog. I got a big dog. And he was only at his highest weight, 65 pounds. He was not, he was a German bred German Shepherd, not American bred. American breds get them up into the hundreds, and that's not where they need to be, because they're prone to dysplasia. Yes, and those hips don't last because the breeding is terrible. Anyways, there's my soapbox.
I hate to interrupt, but we have to take a break and hear from some of our sponsors. Yay! Great discussion, though. We'll be right back after this. Stay with us.
Networking sucks and people suck at it, but nothing gives me more life than walking around and talking to people in an audience and really being able to identify, okay, I see where you're having trouble, let's work on fixing it. How do you help them? How do you provide value? My goal is to give them those tools to be able to go out and tackle that fear. Anywhere there's coffee is where I'll be. So I bring candy a lot to my speaking engagements. Like, of course that makes sense. I'm a little unconventional.
Ashley was very knowledgeable.
Very entertaining.
I learned a few new things, and to me that's the key.
What do you want them to say? How do you want to be perceived? You're going to get the most direct, tactical tips and practical takeaways when it comes to networking. These 2 here are super important. You will remember once the conversation starts.
I love the tips that she gave out. I hate networking with a passion, so I feel like I can go to a meeting or event and not feel so uncomfortable.
When you're going to a presentation, you want to be educated. You also want to be entertained.
She was really fun and really personable, and everything she was saying was just very relatable.
She's got a lot of great ideas.
That will make you stand out so fast.
She comes across as someone that likes what they do and just doesn't try to sell you something.
Activity breeds results. If you're not doing anything, you're not going anywhere.
Just made me want to start networking, which I never thought I'd say before.
A networking strategy that works for you.
I don't think men are superficial idiots, that their brains are wired to be visual.
You're told I give great advice. Nike Just Do It for exercise, I think really applies to sex too.
I've coached hundreds of men and women.
So I disagree with her where she's like, put it all out there on the first date. You know, an open book is not sexy.
Exactly. You know. Do you have relationship questions? Chances are one of my clients or myself or my friends have gone through the same thing, and I already made a video about it. So I invite you to check out my YouTube channel, Donna Barnes. I've made hundreds of advice videos based on real-life experiences so that you can make better choices.
In my upcoming Breakup Recovery Action Plan, there's going to be checklists and quizzes.
Best information that I've ever experienced or acquired. If you're stuck and can't move forward or let go, my action plan is built to help you. Subscribe to my channel. I'll help you have better relationships.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello and welcome back to USA Global TV, Business Talk Radio. You're watching Pet Psychic Aminah. There she is. Wave. Hello. And our guest, Krista from Wag Out Loud. I want to ask you about your podcast. I love that. Podcast. So the guests that you're looking for are typically in what area?
Anybody that is an expert in the field of canine health and wellness. So I've had veterinarians on. I've had Aminah on. She did a wonderful episode on, how she speaks to animals and gave us a little inside peek that we could all do it, that we all have the gift deep inside of us if we, are prepared to listen and open up. And I don't know about you ladies, but I actually think dogs are above us on the whole scale of beings on this earth. And if only we could be like our dogs, that my dog is trying to teach me patience. I don't know when I'm ever going to learn that. Ever.
How's it going?
Not so good. I want everything now. But the unconditional love and, we need to play more and run and bark and meet others. It's, they just have the best outlook on life, and we could learn a lot from them. So my podcast is focused on health and wellness of our dogs. And we talked before about not wanting to shame anybody and that we're all learning. And that's why I think this is a great platform, because if you were to just go to Google and say, canine nutrition, oh my gosh, you're going to come back with millions of headache and opinions and outdated information. And where do people start? It is overwhelming. And one thing that I'm going to share with you is that nothing, and I mean nothing in the pet industry, and I'm talking specifically canines, is regulated. So that is why we need to be the advocate for our dog's health and wellness. So the food is not regulated. Supplements are not regulated. CBD oil, which is a huge thing, not regulated. Grooming products, the plastics used in toys, nothing. So where else are we going to learn all of this information? And that's why I am so blessed to have guests that come on the show and cover a certain topic, and they're short and sweet, 25 to 30 minutes, and they enlighten us on, what we can do to enrich our dogs' lives, really. And I'm learning every single day.
It's amazing.
Krista, thank you for sharing that. I think that's fascinating that nothing's regulated. So wherever it is that you're buying your products, there's no government entity or there's nobody's making sure that what's in there is safe and healthy for your pet. That's frightening.
And somebody
Well,
might be
Krista-
questioning. Oh, go ahead, Amna.
No, finish your sentence, and I'll ask my question.
Somebody might be questioning me. Well, what about AAFCO, the American Association of Feed Control Officials? Aren't they looking after the dog food? No, they are putting out guidelines, but they're not regulating. You know, you hear of all these recalls on dog food. Why is that happening? And why can somebody put all of these, you know, it's marketing hell. You look at let's say a label on a dog food product, they can say whatever they want. Natural. Okay, what does that mean? It just makes me crazy and that's why we have to do our homework, unfortunately. Where do you source your ingredients? Are your products made in China with recycled plastics that leach? It's unfortunate. And the chemicals in grooming products, oh my gosh. That was a whole nother show that was, I probably released that 3 or 4 weeks ago. Fascinating. I never knew.
There's so much we don't know.
Gives you a lot to think about.
Absolutely.
It does, yeah. I mean, we are our dog's caretakers, so it's really up to us to ask the questions.
Wow. And of course, I've already forgotten mine because you just blew me
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. There's so much that needs to be said, and those are so important. And that's why
I have a question.
Good. Go.
Okay. So my question is, I don't remember when it was. Shark Tank's been on for a long time, but someone came on, they had invented these cupcakes for dogs. Have you heard of this?
I have.
Oh, there's a lot of
of them out there.
Baked goods for dogs, yes.
Yeah, baked goods. So what's the story with that? Can they be healthy or is it across the board? Forget it.
You know, again, it depends on the ingredients. I would have to say any of the ingredients in a baked good a dog does not need. But, you know, let's say it's their birthday and you want to give them a little cupcake. Okay, you know, as long as the ingredients won't harm the dog. But it's other companies, and I'm not going to name it, but there's a huge ice cream manufacturer that now has ice cream for dogs. We are humanizing our dogs, and I don't understand when there are certain foods that bring the correct nutrients to them. Why would we give them ice cream when they would love to chew on a bully stick? You know, they'd rather have that than ice cream. But I digress. Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of products. If you probably are thinking of it, it probably exists. And, you know, millennials, a lot of them aren't having kids now or maybe ever. So their pets are their babies, and they are spending a lot of money on their dogs. But the cool thing is the millennials are putting their foot down and saying, I am only going to buy organic products. I am only going to buy sustainable products. And I think it is slowly changing, that people are more aware. And I'm excited that I'm part of that movement.
That is exciting. That's a great place to be.
Uh-huh.
And I would think that there had to be, we've got a message. Hey, ladies, happy Friday from Scotland. Hi, Fraser.
Hey,
nice
Fraser.
to see you.
Yay,
Fraser's-
Scotland.
Yay. Fraser, do you have any dogs? Let us know. I was thinking that it sounds like there could be parallels between what is nutritionally valid for a human and for a dog. So in other words, it's not good to have ice cream for humans, right? Too much ice cream or any sweets or baked goods, no good. No pets for Fraser. Well, Fraser, if you're thinking of getting a dog, hopefully this will give you some ideas of what to look for before you do.
Or not poisoning your neighbors or your aunt, uncle, grandkids. Because a lot of people think, and Krista, I really hear you and what your soul is saying, and I apologize if it's this, and that, but I can't imagine. This is them loving their pet. And what I talk about all the time is, no, you're killing your pet, because it would be the same thing as if you took a child, or let's say you're an elderly couple and you feed your other spouse or whatever, cheese, that stuff in wrappers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even really cheese.
Yeah, or Velveeta. I mean, have you seen the ingredients on Velveeta? That's not cheese, people. It might look like cheese, but I don't think they met milk. Milk showed up in the room and ran away. If you can't read the ingredients, the first 3 are the most important. Everybody knows that studies nutrition. The first 3 are the most important. And then if there's 10 more, don't buy it, especially for yourself and your pets, because they're not buying the food. There's so much better ways you can go and really get good, healthy food. I know I'm taking care of one of my daughter who's stuck in Spain. And so we have her cat, and she has her on specifically. Now, she came to us as a stray little kitten of Merida medical issues because of that issue. And she went through years of doctor's appointments. So she is healthy and happy because she's on an organic, specific kind of food that really keeps her coat beautiful. She's a long-haired coat, and that's what you're looking for. I mean, do you have clear eyes? Do you have sores? Well, you're doing it wrong. Go for the clear eyes, not the sores.
Right. Well, Aminah, don't you agree that you either pay now?
Yes.
And, give them good food. And you guys, somebody's out there saying, okay, I've got 5 large dogs. I'm on a budget. I can't feed that way. Well, I can help you feed a healthier diet even on a budget.
Yep.
So as I said, you pay now and get them as healthy as you can up front, or you're going to pay for it later on down the road when they have diseases and other issues and you've got huge veterinary bills.
Or
one of the things we have not,
both know they put them down.
Well, exactly. If you can't afford it.
Right.
Vaccines, that is a whole nother cause of cancer. It is. It's been shown. And people don't know that. Over 60% of the contemporary vets are still requiring annual immunizations.
Wow.
And even the pharmaceutical companies making these vaccines are not requiring it every single year. So we are over vaccinating our dogs again and again, and it's causing autoimmune disease, cancer, allergies, asthma, arthritis. I mean, I could go on. And there's just a simple test called titers. And you can ask your vet, could I get a titers instead of a vaccine? Because over 90% of adult dogs have complete antibodies for the vaccines that they received as a puppy. They don't need them anymore. And a titers test will show you that.
That's amazing.
Great information. Thank you.
Wow.
I have so many questions for you. We're going to have you back because the one question I have when it comes to nutrition is we've all been in the company of a dog that has horrible breath. And I've thought many times it might not be the dog's fault, right? It's probably the owner, what they're feeding the dog. So I'm sure from a nutrition perspective, there's certain things that are better to give a dog so that they have nice, fresh breath, right?
A fresh food or raw diet will definitely improve their breath, but you just brought up a whole nother topic, Dr. Jacalyn.
I know. We'll right into it.
We'll start a list.
Many dogs have gum disease. And just like us, we get our teeth cleaned and we walk out of the office. Well, that bacteria is already getting under the gum line and producing plaque. So if you do not regularly brush your dog's teeth, they will get gum disease. It's going to happen. A lot of people, they take them in every year to have their teeth cleaned, which is fine, which is great. But I brush Winston's teeth every single day. And I am a fan of bully sticks. They're a natural chew, and they won't break their teeth like, some of the antlers and hard bones do. So if you have a dog that you're taking care of their teeth, and they, of course, love to chew. When they're chewing, they release those feel-good hormones, the endorphins. So there are also products, and you can see that on my website, that I have vetted the absolute most amazing products for dogs, and most of them are discounted as well. And there are products out there like Teef, and that's TEEF. That is a all-natural powder you put in their water, and that helps their oral microbiome, and it promotes the good bacteria versus the bad bacteria. So there are so many good things that we can do, but yes, bad breath could be a huge sign of problems with their whole GI tract. Actually, they could have leaky gut. So you keep bringing up great topics.
Well, and I know you're super, super busy with your amazing podcast. You have some amazing topics and guests, but I hope I still have 2 times, and I do this every Friday, but each Friday is a different type of guest. I would like to invite you to take the 3rd or 4th Friday of the month, if you can, even if it's once in a while. There's so much you have to share. And then I really encourage everybody, please check out Wag Out Loud. It is going to save lives. It's going to save your brains. There's so many of us are trying to help the pet owner. What you're doing, Krista, and why, as Jacalyn knows, I just bring on people that really can move somebody forward. And we're moving families forward and saving these dogs' lives.
Thank you. Well, I thank both of you. And I hope this also encourages people that do have a passion. Like, I'm obsessed with dogs. I turned it into a business. And if anybody is thinking, wow, could I turn this into a business? Yes, you can. And you can enjoy your life and spread your passion with the world. I think it's just so cool.
Yeah. That's what Dr. Jacalyn has done. Yep. That is what I have done. And we're 3 business women that have turned our passions into a livelihood. So
that's right.
Yes,
wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yay, a million questions.
Yay! So I'm looking forward to having you back. And by the way, I love your website. I think people should definitely go and check it out. I've been on there a few times. It's very attractive looking to the eye anyway, but you've got good content on here, and you've also got products and events and information about you. So please go over to wagoutloud.com and learn all about Krista and how she's changing the world, bringing education and information and knowledge, which is so important because everybody loves their dog, right? You why would you get a dog if you're not going to love it? So you've got to take care of it and realize that it's a living being, and it's counting on you to do the right things, unlike what I did, but now I've learned. So,
well, some of our best lessons are when we fall down.
Yes.
But, you can't blame yourself for what you don't know. And just, what we keep saying, Krista kept saying, you can't go back, and sure, we've lived long enough to go, oh, well, that was really stupid.
Right.
But I didn't know. And that's why I think all 3 of us are so motivated to get the word out for free and just say, please, I have a passion. I have a love. I'd like to see it do better in the rest of the world. And I can't always do that unless I just donate that information. So please go to Wag Out Loud. Love the dogs, Chris. I loved working with you. That's why I asked you back, because it was just like, no, this is somebody who speaks my heart, and we gotta support each other and get people to know that you're out there.
Thank you. I so appreciate you, ladies.
Thank you. We appreciate you too. Have a lovely weekend, and thank you again for being here. We'll look forward to seeing you next month.
Sounds
Absolutely.
good. Have a tail wagging day, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, sorry, you're there and she's gone. Okay. Sorry about that.
Like a chestnut.
That's what's called a blooper. Yay, a blooper on a Friday.
Oh, you're a boring blooper. You gotta get a better, like a clown walking through the screen or an elephant going, I didn't know you had elephants.
Or my mom going, this is for you. It came in the mail. Okay, great.
Did she actually do that?
She has done that before. She peeks around the green screen like, yes, hello. But I do love her anyway. It's all right. I want to say hello to Fraser, and Fraser, I will reach out to you. Thank you. All right, so we're at the end of the program. I've got another show coming up. How can people reach you? And I'm laughing because tell us how they can reach you.
bridgingworlds.us. Everything about me is there. You'll get the clips with Dr. Jacalyn and just fabulous information. We want to keep moving everybody forward. So please look for help where you can, and we'll keep bringing it here also. bridgingworlds.us. Love to help.
Thank you. And Aminah knows the reason why I'm laughing is because I hear her voice so many times during the week. Bridging Worlds. it's ingrained in my head, so that's why I'm laughing. But it's
between
fabulous show.
And their people and their pets.
Yes. Thank you for bringing Krista here today. I really loved her, just like all your guests.
I hope she agrees to come back, but I know you guys, it's like asking you to do something outside of what you're doing. It's like, where would you fit that in? Because the midnight to 3 schedule is already filled.
Yes, exactly. But she seems like she wants to come back, so
I hope so.
That's great.
There's so much we can help the dog, and I'm looking for a cat specialist. So if you are one, get a hold of me. I'm always looking for specialists to come and talk, because we all have come from a different education and can really help somebody with all of us as a tribe.
For sure.
Thank
all
you.
Right. I thank you. You have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you next week.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. We have one more show coming up today, which is stories of hope, inspiration, and overcoming adversity. And my guest is Debbie McHugh. So join us in just a few minutes. We will be right here on USA Global TV. Thank you again. And thanks to Fraser for engaging. Talk to you soon.